Who's the new guy?
Bernie Moore. Picked him up yesterday.
From where?
You'll never believe it.
You don't mean.
Kentucky.
There's no way.
Extracted from the Louisville Bridge on New Year's Day.
Wow, I didn't think there was anyone left.
Nobody did. It's a miracle.
So what's his story? How did he survive for so long? Especially in the place it all started.
Why don't we let him tell us? Hey Bernie, are you up?
July 9th, 1993. The day everything changed. I'll never forget it. I was covered in bandages and could barely walk due to a fractured right shin and burns across half my body earned from fighting a fire on Independence Day. Mishandled fireworks, of course. Goddamn kids. Things got a little spicy and I ended up jumping out of the third-story window to avoid the flames. Now I was recovering in the Rosewood fire station so the crew could support me in my recovery. My wife was out of town in Louisville on business. Yeah. We'll get to that later. I had woken in a room by myself at around 5 a.m. Got up from bed, grabbed my crutches, popped some pain pills and heading down the hall to do some work in the washroom. Looking back, that was probably the last shit of my life that I wasn't living scared shitless. Wish I sat there and enjoyed it more. Oh well, life lesson I guess, never take a good shit for granted. I finished what I needed to do, washed my hands and splashed my face with water to help me wake up a bit more. I headed to the hall and into the other bedroom where the rest of the crew was resting. The room was empty. Suddenly recalling something from the previous night, I was no longer surprised. The alarm went off around midnight, which I heard from my bed, followed by both trucks rolling out of the station with the sirens on. I thought I also heard a helicopter, but that was probably side effects of the painkillers. I figured the crew would be back in no time since things were typically quiet in the small town of Rosewood. Didn't imagine anything happening that would take more than a few hours to sort out. I headed towards the locker room to get changed. Tossed on my aviator glasses and fanny pack. I hear if you look good you feel good. Worth a shot. Heard my stomach growling, so I made my way into the kitchen. The first thing I noticed was that the crew left their unfinished dinners laying around. I guess things were busier than I thought. I proceeded to the fridge, grabbed a quick snack and walked towards the recreation room. Flipped on the light and took a look around. The crew had been playing poker and pool. Looks like they were having quite the time. I sat down, kicked back and watched some good old Woodcraft.
Y'all are watching Woodcraft, your one-stop shop for home improvement. We're starting with the basics, the kind of stuff they teach at kindergarten. You like floors? I like floors. Take a plank and a nail like this. Take your hammer and... Looks kind of nice like that, huh? Know what else is good for practice? A sign. Write whatever you like. Hunk at work, maybe? Like that, ladies? Leading y'all straight to me. Tomorrow we're taking off the training wheels. Door frames, here we come.
Goddamn, I hated that guy, but I would do just about anything to watch a new episode. It was time to try and make my way downstairs. My bandages were starting to become dirty, and they certainly weren't going to change themselves. I was hobbling around like a dumbass. God, it hurt to walk, but there wasn't much I could do. I did have a splint on my leg at least. I finally made my way downstairs and flipped the light on in the garage. As expected, both trucks were still gone and not a single member of the crew in sight. It was very odd no one stayed behind. Whatever was going on, I knew had to be really bad. I entered into the medical room at the back of the garage, in between a storage room on the left and laundry room on the right. I began removing all of my old and dirty bandages from all over my body, replaced them with new adhesive bandages, applied some disinfectant to some of the wounds that didn't look quite right. Thankfully, for my experiences as a firefighter over the previous 25 years, I have picked up a basic level of first aid. I finished patching myself up and headed out the door. That's when I noticed the note.
Chief, we're sorry to leave you all alone. We had no choice. Something is wrong. The phone lines are down. We were sent an emergency radio broadcast to send all support personnel to Muldraw. Something bad is going down. I promise we'll be back for you. I'm sure everything's okay. Stay safe.
Emergency radio broadcast? What was happening? Terrorism? Riots? Who the hell knows? I bolted upstairs as quickly as I could, catching an LBMW news broadcast at the last minute.
This is Jackie J. I'm here at the checkpoints to the north of the Knox exclusion zone. I'm here with Denise, who has a story to tell. Denise, you were one of the last out of the zone, am I right?
I was. My mom's still in there.
Have you heard from her?
Nothing. Phones are out. These guys, all standing in between us.
The army, yes. And how did you get out?
Well, we heard the helicopters all night through. Mom was ill. High temperature, real sleepy. Nothing serious, I thought. I was going to work at gas to go early, like every morning. I saw these guys in plastic suits, you know. Bright yellow?
Hazard suits, Denise.
I guess. Anyway, I saw them down the road. Thought it was weird, but everything's weird at 4 a.m., right? Then I drive through, get taken aside. They shine a light into my eyes, take a blood sample, keep me locked tight until 10 minutes ago? Then they say I'm clear and kick me out. Then I meet you. What's going on, Jackie?
We don't know just yet, Denise. From what I've been told, your mom will be fine.
You know that?
I don't know that. I've been told that. Keep close, Denise. You'll know what I know. Just like the guys listening will. Keep safe, Kentucky.
Mother of God. I was even more confused. The Knox exclusion zone? What the hell is that? It looked like Jackie was in Louisville. Did that mean I was in the exclusion zone? I needed to get in contact with someone for more information. With the phone lines still out, I headed down to my office to use the ham radio.
Knox Talk Radio, you're on the air, Marcia. What do you know?
Nothing. I was on the phone to my daughter. Then she goes dead.
Did she mention any kind of infection, Marcia?
Kids were off school with a fever. Nothing bad. Now we can't talk. Can't go see her.
Nothing else? They're saying panic and confusion in there.
That's it. They had a fever.
How are you, Marcia? Are you scared?
Scared? I'm not scared. I'm pissed. Who do these guys think they are?
They're the U.S. Army, ma'am. Back after these messages.
Infection. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And where the hell everyone was. I was becoming very stressed in addition to still being in a lot of physical pain, so I figured it was a perfect time for a dart. I headed out the front doors of the fire station, taking a moment as I took my first steps outside to appreciate my surroundings. It was my first time being outside for a number of days, and it stunk. Had no clue why at the time, but I'll never forget that first time breathing it in. I eventually made it to the passenger side of the truck, grabbed the darts from the glove compartment and lit one up. That's when I saw it. While gazing into the empty field across from the fire station, about 100 meters past the fence, there appeared to be a body. A dead body. I carefully jumped the fence and slowly walked towards it. I was in shock. What happened out here? Based on the appearance of the body, I would say it had been laying out here since at least last night. No obvious signs of wounds or trauma, so it was difficult to guess the cause of death. Is it possible it was related to the news reports? After a closer examination, I took a look at my surroundings, hoping to see someone I could call out to. I did see someone in the distance, but to my surprise it was yet another dead body laying on the other side of the field. What on earth happened out here? I needed to find some damn answers, and fast. Since the phone lines were still down and I had no previous luck getting in touch with anyone on the ham radio, I decided to hobble over to the police station in the hopes that someone would be around for me to report what I found. At this point my fractured shin was absolutely killing me. But what other option did I have? I had to toughen up and do what needed to be done. When I got into the police station, it was a ghost town. Usually there's a really nice old lady named Sue that sits at the front reception desk. Even she wasn't there. I continued to search the main office room. No body. I then ventured into the back of the station where the holding cells are. Not a soul in sight. They obviously must have gotten the same emergency call that the fire station got last night, but why is everyone gone? Surely someone would have stayed back. Right? This was all so confusing to me. Nothing made sense. I was getting more and more worried by the second. I slowly made it back to the fire station and locked the doors behind me. At this point, all I knew was that I was all alone and there were 2 dead bodies in the field across from me. Before heading upstairs to lay in bed for a bit to rest my leg, I decided to give the ham radio in the garage a try. Maybe I would get lucky.
As of today, I'm breaking with the schedule. You'll notice you haven't heard Tim the past few days. No recipes. No weather. No Tim. He's inside the exclusion zone. He doesn't even know we had to put the dog to sleep. If you know anything at all, find a way to talk to us. The phones are cut off. The roads have checkpoints. This is too big. Way too big for us to just believe what they say.
Thank God. Someone who might be able to help. Hello out there, whoever you are. I heard your message about your missing friend Tim. My name is Bernie Moore. I'm currently located at the Rosewood fire station. I'm badly injured and alone. I found 2 dead bodies outside. If you can hear this, please reach out. I don't know what is happening. I'll be checking into the radio whenever I have the chance moving forward. Maybe we can help each other out somehow. Be safe.
Nice to hear from you, Bernie. Name's Jim. Can't talk now, but I will be in touch soon. We are in this together.
This was the potential breakthrough I was looking for. Although I didn't really gather too much new information, it certainly was a morale boost to finally speak with someone. I was hoping we would be able to have another chat soon so Jim could catch me up on everything he knew. I thought that since he was in Louisville he could help me locate my wife. It was right around lunchtime, so I headed upstairs, had a quick stop at the washroom, and proceeded to watch the afternoon news update.
This is Jackie J reporting for LBMW, here at the military blockade to the north of the exclusion zone. It's a scene of drama, anger and confusion here. We've got folks turning up trying to get through, and standing in their way are guys in camo. US Army recruits who 4 days ago were waiting to ship out overseas from local military bases, but who are now checkpoint guards around their former home, and still no word on the condition of those inside the zone. We know there's something like an influenza virus in there, but it's localized. There's just a handful of reports of strange behaviors, panic, confusion. I've been told that military scientists are present within the zone. We should hear concrete details tomorrow. If anything else comes out of the exclusion zone, you'll be the first to know. Keep safe, Kentucky.
It was all starting to become a bit more clear. I got up from my chair and went to the fridge to grab an ice-cold Coors Light to cool the nerves a bit. My body, in particular my leg, was exhausted. I figured since I was still stranded here it would be a good idea to get some rest by taking an afternoon nap. I walked to my room, shut off the lamp and climbed into bed for a quick snooze. Okay, back to the matter at hand. It was apparent there was some sort of virus going around. The military has taken over control in an attempt to contain it. Sounds like this virus, or whatever it actually is, makes people confused and angry. Not a good mix. It's very difficult to tell whether or not the full truth is being reported. My initial thought was unlikely, especially after what my new friend Jim mentioned earlier. This is just way too big for us to just believe what they say. I needed to keep searching for answers, while I continued to wait for my crew to make their way back to the station.
This is Hall broadcasting out of Nashville. We're in the Nashville Air Guard Base, right by the airport. I'm going to broadcast every night at this time. We're protected here, fortifications, guns. There's a hell of a lot of dead people outside, but we're safe. If you can get here, we have food and beds. You'll just need to find a way to distract the horde that's at our gates. That'd be one hell of a favor anyways. Friendlies only. You can trust us, but be aware that we will not trust you. Not for a while. Though God knows if you can fly a plane, we'll let you right in.
Hell of a lot of dead people. Horde at the gate. What in the flying fuck is happening? My head was spinning and my stress levels were spiking. You know what that means. Time for another dart. They say these things will kill you, And I suppose they do, but damn do they melt away stress. After a few puffs it was clear God was sending me a sign to quit smoking since, for the second time that day I found a dead body while lighting one up. Jesus fucking Christ. I walked over to take a closer look. Pretty much the same as the other two. No noticeable signs of trauma, but certainly as dead as could be. I didn't want to get too close since I was almost certain these poor people died as a result of what was being reported in the news. Whatever it was, I didn't want to catch it. At this point I was becoming more and more desperate. Desperate for help and answers. I started hobbling back to the parking lot towards my truck. I hadn't previously tried using it since my right shin was badly fractured. Kinda difficult to drive with only your left leg. But like Bobby Dylan would say, the times, they are a-changin'. I got in my truck and turned the key. No fucking luck. My wife told me to fill it up. She told me twice actually. But no. I was too damn stubborn to fill it up on my way to work before my accident. Arrived at the station that morning with the gas light on. At the time I wasn't sure if I was more scared for whatever was happening, or telling my wife about my car being out of gas. Looking back now, I would obviously welcome the conversation. With nothing else to do outside, I figured I would make my way back inside to catch any updates on the news.
This is Frank Hemingway, taking over coverage of the Knox Event from Jackie. It's the end of the second day of the Knox exclusion. Still no word on the contagion. So what do we know? Influenza symptoms brought the towns of West Point and Muldrow to a standstill. Then overnight the blockades appeared. Military sources suggest the area is watertight. There's even boats patrolling the Ohio River. If the checkpoints aren't gone tomorrow, however, the boundary will be tested. We've got concerned locals, evaluated families, and, yup, more news teams turning up every hour. Everyone wants to get in just as, we assume, the residents want to get out. We're promised answers tomorrow from one General John McGrew. We can't wait to hear them, General. Better make them good. Frank Hemingway, LBMW.
General John McGrew? A military general? I didn't think that sounded like good news. Why would he be speaking tomorrow? Things were getting more and more wacky and wild as the day went on. It sounded like a very tense situation was brewing at the exclusion border near Louisville. I wondered if my wife was trying to get out and back home to me. I wish the fucking phone were working so I could talk to her. God, I hope she's okay. Why the hell was it taking so long to fix? Were the two things connected somehow? No, surely not, I thought, but what if they were? I couldn't take any more of this today. I went into the kitchen, warmed up some soup and drank it down. I was in so much shock from everything that I almost forgot to turn off the oven. Never, ever, forget to turn off the oven. How embarrassing would that have been? I'm a fucking firefighter. It was time for bed. Tomorrow was going to be a big day. I needed to come up with a plan. I popped some pain pills since there was no way in hell I was falling asleep without them. My leg was throbbing and my burns were, well, burning. I crawled into bed and eventually drifted off to sleep. A nice temporary escape from reality. I didn't realize it at the time, but the next day was going to be much worse. Within the next 12 hours my life would truly never be the same. I woke up on July 10th dazed and confused. A flurry of thoughts and images quickly rushed to my head. Was that all just a dream? Holy hell, I sure hoped so. I slowly crawled out of bed and limped down the hall to see if my crew was sleeping in the other room. I opened the door. Fuck. Shit balls. No dream. My crew was still missing. My wife was still stranded in Louisville. 3 people are dead outside the fire station due to some mystery fucking illness no one apparently knows anything about. I don't have any gas in my truck to get anywhere, and my leg is so busted I can't walk very far. Like I decided before bed last night, I needed to make a plan. But first, I wanted to check the news to see if there were any updates since last night.
Good morning. You're listening to LBMW. It's day 3 of the Knox evacuation. Still no official statement on the contagion that has gripped Kentucky. The exclusion zone remains in place. Military personnel from local bases have a huge area closed off. Their primary deployment south of Louisville. The exclusion zone stretches out below the curve of the Ohio River and contains the small towns of Muldraugh and West Point. We have been told there will be answers. LBMW understands a press conference will be held this afternoon on the brewing chaos of the last 4 days. Will the communications blackout be explained? Until then, the only advice for those nearby remains, stay indoors. This is Frank Hemingway for LBMW.
Exclusion zone still in place. I was looking forward to the press conference coming up later in the day. Hopefully they would provide some actual answers and give us an idea on when this is all going to be over. I was really hoping they would at least tell us when the phone lines would be back up so I could get in touch with my wife. Hopefully she was okay still. After grabbing a quick snack in the kitchen, I headed back downstairs. My bandages were once again dirty, so I went into the medical room to change them for new ones. I was beginning to run low on actual bandages, so I had to use some ripped sheets instead. My leg was also starting to feel a bit better. Maybe it was just the adrenaline, but it seemed like my days with crutches would soon be over. When I was finished up, I headed out the side door to enjoy my morning dart. Boy oh boy was it foggy out that day. Quite ominous. But the good news was that I probably wasn't going to notice any more dead bodies since I couldn't see 10 feet in front of my face. With the press conference still being several hours away, I decided to head back inside to check for any action on the ham radio. Maybe my pal Jim was around. Maybe he found his pal Tim. I also needed to ask him about my wife. Maybe he could try to reach out to her if the phones are working in Louisville. Hi Jim. It's me, Bernie. Are you there?
Good to hear from you, Burns. Hopefully it's okay to call you that.
Most people do. Kinda hard to avoid after I became a firefighter. So what's new?
I just got back from a drive. I thought I'd try to check out the camp over on the event border. Didn't get very far. I even tried this little back road. All blocked. One-way traffic. Guns at each checkpoint. They say they're protecting us. You feel safe yet? LBMW this morning, telling us to stay indoors. Thanks, guys. How about you actually do some reports? Tell us what's going on in there. You can't just turn out the lights over that many counties. It's 1993, not the Dark Ages. You can't keep a lid on this stuff.
While things are certainly getting bad.
They're dying in there, we know that, right? I'm watching the TV. Listening to the radio. I'm sorry to use the word, but it's all bull crap. Reporters over there, sitting in bed with the army. Feeding off their scraps. We know there are guns being fired. We know they didn't all catch cold. We know those people are changed somehow. That's what I heard.
Changed? My God, this is all so terrifying. Have you had any luck locating Tim?
No. I'm worried sick. My poor sweet Tim. All alone out there. Wait. Maybe you can help me look for him since you're also in the exclusion zone. I would do anything to hear his voice again. Before any of this happened, he was staying at the hotel in Riverside.
Oh boy. I'll do whatever I can to help you out, Jim. Riverside is quite the journey from Rosewood, but once I'm back on my feet from these injuries, I can drive there to check in on him for you. I also have a favor to ask you in return. My wife Ivana is in Louisville. She was attending a work event at the art museum downtown. Is there any way you can try to contact her? Please let her know I'm okay and that I am worried sick. I hope she is allowed to come home soon.
Your wife's name is Ivana Moore? I mean, of course. I can certainly try my best. Thanks so much, Burns. Chat soon. Over and out.
What a relief. Jim was going to try and find my wife. Every cell in my body was hoping she was doing okay. Things sounded very tense within Louisville. What a fucking nightmare. I of course meant what I said about helping Jim find Tim, but that wasn't my first priority. I still couldn't drive anywhere because my car had no gas, and my leg wasn't quite good enough to walk all the way to the gas station on the other end of town. but I started thinking it would be wise to try and push myself to walk a bit further today. Maybe there were people right down the road that could help me, or maybe I could help them somehow. Before I headed out, I decided to rest my leg a bit while watching my favorite show, Exposure Survival.
Hey, it's me, Dean, back with some nature. Welcome back to Exposure Survival. Now, I hate killing little creature guys, but sometimes you've just gotta survive, right? Today we're building what I call a wooden cage trap. It's this cage you build out of wood. Inside it you trap stuff. So right now I'm taking this saw to 3 planks. Then 5 nails should do you right. Just hammer it all into place. Like this. Now let's go somewhere quiet. Here I am in the woods and I'm setting down the trap. Just chuck in some bait like this and get out of there. When you come back, maybe there'll be a little animal guy there. Ready for the pot, once you've killed and gutted him anyway. Until next time, guys.
I could watch that guy all day. Doesn't hurt to pick up some helpful survival tips. Who said TV rots your brain? It was time to hit the road to see what the state of town was like. Hopefully there were people around to speak with. Maybe they had some additional information I wasn't aware about. Still hobbling a little bit from my leg, I made my way downstairs and out the side door to begin my long walk. There wasn't much to see or do in the small town of Rosewood, but it was a good place to call home. It's located in the southwest of Knox Country, an hour or so drive from Old Raw. We didn't have much other than the fire and police stations, a clinic, supermarket, mechanic shop, and county courthouse. It also features a sizable residential area. The Kentucky State Prison is also a short distance away. When I got to the parking lot of the police station, it happened again. Another dead body. But this one was different. I knew this person. It was Police Chief Tenant, Lieutenant. My heart sunk. I couldn't fucking believe it. Not Lou. He was one of the bravest men I've ever known. Before the feeling could completely sink in, I saw another one. A dead body. This time in the middle of the road. I was left speechless. 5 dead bodies. All just lying randomly around town. As I said before, and I will continue to say moving forward. What in the flying fuck is going on? My goodness gracious. I knew I had to proceed. I needed answers. Surely there was more to discover up ahead in town. I got a good look at my surroundings, settled my emotions, and continued on towards the body in the middle of the road. Same old story. No apparent sign of trauma or wounds indicating a sign of death. Although all of these people look more than dead. If that makes any sense. Even though I desperately wanted to turn back and head back to the fire station where I knew I would at least be safe, I had to carry on. I continued walking towards downtown Rosewood. I noticed there was a station wagon with a trailer attached abandoned in the middle of the road. Why the hell would someone leave their car like that? Only one reason came to mind. Panic. Pure and utter panic would force someone to leave their car and run. As I got closer to the first couple businesses, I could see another dead body lying out front of the Rosewood Bank. Before heading towards it, I peeked into the window of the Mama McFudgington's Cafe. Empty. As I continued towards the dead body lying near the front of the bank, something caught my eye inside Markson and Company. I slowly walked towards the window. I couldn't believe it. People. I finally found people. Hello? Hello in there? I was trying to get their attention from outside of the window. Something didn't seem right. They were all just kinda standing around. Almost lifeless. What the fuck? Could these people be infected? One of the symptoms mentioned on the news was confusion after all. I tried opening up the door to head inside to talk to them, but it was locked. Damn. Since I couldn't seem to get their attention, I decided to continue towards the bank. After all, I could always come back and try again on my way back home. I cautiously made my way to the front window of the bank to see if anyone was still inside. Success. More people. It was my lucky day. Ah, what the fuck? 2 sick bastards snuck up behind me. One was able to give me a pretty good scratch along my arm. The pain was immense. Adrenaline kicked in and I kinda blacked out. I remember pushing and pushing them until they fell to the ground. I don't know how I did it was a fractured leg, but I stomped the shit out of their heads. Once I took down the first two, another two came out of a new smashed window next door at Marks and Company. What the hell was wrong with these people? They looked dead, but clearly they were anything but. I continued to push and stomp until the threat had subsided. I needed to get the fuck out of here and back to the fire station. One of these bastards cut me. I needed to get home to toss some disinfectant on the wound and bandages it up. I am not a religious man, but at that moment I was sure as hell praying I wasn't infected myself. Did I just murder 4 people? Oh geez, I had no other choice. It wasn't my fault. I finally made it back to the fire station, hobbling as fast as I possibly could to the medical room in the garage. Shit balls. My whole body was numb. I was in shock. What on earth just happened? When I got into the medical room, I quickly disinfected and bandaged my fresh wound. Was I going to become one of those things? All I could do was wait and see. Damn. I sat there in silence, frightened to the core. A vast range of emotion and thoughts were spiraling through me. I needed a moment to collect myself. It turned out this truly was just the beginning of my long journey to survive.
This is Frank Hemingway from LBMW. Thanks for watching part 1 of the survival series created by Cosmos Marinus, set in the world of Project Zomboid. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for part 2 where things get even more spicy for your new favorite survivor, Bernie Moore. Will we learn something more about Ivana? What will happen to Jim's good pal Tim? And will Bernie find some Pepto-Bismol to help with his ongoing gas issues? Until next time, Frank Hemingway, LBMW.